to Everyone Racers.
A show designed for the world of low-dollar racing
and an oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of Limit Champ or Lucky Track Dog League you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions,
Tips and tricks, as well as news and notes.
From the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet when we're lucky enough, and Chrissy.
Chris.
And I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
Topic time.
So it's as we often do. This is the Hangover show. Now, I'm trapped out here in the middle of the desert, and I wasn't part of the racing on this one, but Vicky's now, after walking behind me, is apologizing. So everyone say hi, Vicky.
Hi,
Especially everyone on the radio that didn't see this.
Nope.
But I was watching the trials and tribulations, and if I am not mistaken, at one point, all three cars were in the garage.
Oh, absolutely.
Not turning left.
Oh, absolutely.
So this was, and we, I don't know, maybe I cursed it, but Thompson has been the scene of some of the just most agonizing disappointments and our greatest triumphs. And it looks like this weekend was trying to hit both points at the same time. So obviously, you got to get to the track. So let's start with the trek there. Before we get too far into this, Chris and Chrissy, you guys had actually been packing, got done packing. We started a little late last week and y'all were ready to go. At showtime last Wednesday, Jeff had not started packing.
Correct.
And there was a gamble about whether or not Jeff was going to make that 10 p.m. deadline Thursday.
Correct.
And I don't want to hear it from Jeff. I want to hear it from Chris and Chrissy because I don't trust Jeff.
We were on the same trajectory.
Yep, he did make it.
They
We
were
were only
far-
about a half hour apart.
Yeah, and that extended only a little bit.
Yeah, even though I
because of-
worked a half day and
Yeah.
they didn't.
No.
Yep.
So the trek there, you worked a half day. So you guys get started about lunchtime and headed up there.
No.
We
I
waited till
worked.
Chrissy didn't leave.
I
till-
worked most of the day, and then I got back in the car and then worked for another good couple hours. So
Was
But I had
this
time to finish packing.
was this the first test of the Caddy as a track support
No.
vehicle?
We took it to
Grid Life.
Grid Life. Oh, that's right. Okay. All right.
This
Fair
is
enough.
longer, but no,
Caddy's great. Still great.
No,
Air
I
conditioning is
lied.
icy cold.
because
What?
this is the first time we packed it for a race. So we had to
Sure.
redo before the sub had a really good parts. We know exactly how it should be packed to fit everything that we possibly needed.
Tetris
into.
model was tested.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
10
was
years worth of figuring it out.
right, and we didn't pack much less. We did pretty well. We just had to figure out, like, with the seats all the way folded up instead of everything being flat in the Suburban. Now the middle seats flip up, so we had to use the footwells of behind and under the seats, the captain's seats.
Ah,
it doesn't have as much
you have
height.
the captain's chairs for the second row seating.
Yes.
Yeah, but the old ones, the captain shares, the bottom folded up and the back folded down.
yeah, they
Yeah,
Where
disappeared.
these
They
ones,
became
either
flat.
they just fold flat because the third row folds flat into the floor, which takes up floor space. So that raises the height of the floor. So you can have a flat floor, but it doesn't give you much height. And then you have a massive deep well between the seats. Or you can flip the seats up and you get a pretty big area between the second and third rows all the way down to the floor, which gives you a lot of height.
And that was
stuff.
totally Tetris. So all
Yeah.
of the waters, the ice maker, the crock pot, what can I shove down these little crevices, which worked out fine. So we did okay with packing, but it was that was new for this year.
Okay. So with all the new packing and everything on there, the Caddy still rocks as a support vehicle. So it's a 2019,
Right.
16.
2016 Escalade, highly recommended, excellent track support / mobile
AC blows
office.
super cold.
Yeah, because
They're
Chrissy had to
cold
work all the way
seats.
up there.
Are epically cold, and it gets the same mileage towing that the Suburban got empty driving around town.
That's the same engine. That's the 6-liter, right?
6.2, 100 more horsepower, 100 more torque, twice as many gears.
Twice as
Okay.
many gears being the key there.
Yeah.
That's legit. That matters. All right. So Jeff, Thursday, you hadn't even thought about packing. You still had to work something, didn't you? Or no?
time in the RV until my laptop batteries gave out. So I was still sending emails, and then on Saturday or Friday morning, I had to work on a bunch of meetings. It was my work life is really getting in the way of my racing life, and one of
hear
them's
you,
gotta
brother.
go.
I hear ya. I know, right?
Yeah, Jesus. I gotta get on the mental ward retire early theme. And
Yeah, well, you see how much racing I'm doing, right? Yeah. Every Sunday, Vicky and I have like our nice little tradition. We go down to the strip. We've got a lunch thing. I walk around looking at all the slot machines with anything over 100,000 going, oh yeah, that'd be worth trying to retire and do nothing but race cars. But what time did you get on the road, Jeff? And were there any events on the way up there? Because I want to talk about your brother on the way back, but we'll save that towards the end.
No, really, nothing really. I mean, we hit New York City. We hit the New York City area traffic right at the wrong time, which we always do because we leave here at like 3. There's one little.
What's nice there is now you stop lying to yourself about we'll be on the road by 9. Nah, dude, we're not getting on the road till like 4.
No, because we have packing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
The problem is everything is stored in the wrong house. But anyway, we have one little moment of Wakeman problems.
Just one.
So I was just one in the way there. Just one on the way there. So I
Okay.
was throwing everything into the pack, and I was packing, and we got on the road and we went 20 minutes. Remember, it is like 1,000 degrees. My entire house has COVID. We leave the house, we're like 15 minutes away, and I go, oh wait, I left my wallet at home. So my poor wife says, well, I'll come deliver it to you. So
Very
she
sick
drives.
wife.
She was moderately sick at that point, not terribly sick. So she does like the 20-minute trek out, hands me the wallet, drives the 20-minute trek back, and
Flips you off.
realizes she left the dogs out. So the dogs are like, for like 45 minutes. They came in, they were like, I'm dying. Give me water. So that's the only Wakeman issue we really had. So
All right.
other than
So-
everything was fine.
So Friday, you guys get there. It is the Cressida.
Mhm.
It is Betty sans Bruce, which is that becomes a factor later because the magic
Oh,
trailer
quickly.
wasn't available.
It
It was.
Right. Okay.
There
Oh,
just
okay.
wasn't
It
as
was there.
magic.
It just without
was-
Bruce. Bruce is key to the magic of the trailer.
No, not even that.
We'll tell the story. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, fair enough. So the 3, the Cressida and the RX-7 are the primary cars that are the 3 Palomatier cars that are running.
Yeah,
Correct.
this is Betty, the 3.8 liter RX-7, not the LS swapped RX-7. That's not done yet.
I think I'm willing
know
to bet
everybody knows
every
that,
listener knew.
That was almost just rubbing it in her face.
so
Uh, yeah.
of course these are experienced race cars. They sail through tech. But
well, let me
walk
tell you about
walk
unloading.
me through.
Betty. There's
Okay.
a story on unloading Betty.
Uh-oh.
This is what we get to. The not
There's
so
a
magic
there's a
trailer.
General Greg problem.
So they had those guys had thrown. What did they do last time to the motor? The motor like
Oh, they munched
head
it. They munched because
gaskets?
we had both the
No,
RX-7s.
they dropped a valve. They dropped
dropped a valve. Okay, so they dropped a
one
valve at New
valve head,
Jersey.
and it rattled all around in the cylinder. And
Yeah. So they had that, oh, what's your engine builder sucks. This engine builder's new. Let's take it to my engine builder on Long Island, says Momrath principal Amanda. So they take it out and they take the motor. They drive the motor up to Long Island, wherever. and-
Gauntlet.
Well, yeah, because there's
Uh,
Long Island, and then where Amanda lives is Long Island.
Long Island, yeah. So then they bring the motor back and it's all done and they all install it at Bruce's house. And this is pre-broken leg. And they start it up and it sounds like a diesel because it had dropped the valve immediately. So they go, crap.
No, you guys are getting this all wrong.
Okay.
the motor blew up at Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah.
Right. They
Hold
took
it.
it out.
Yeah.
They put this new one in. It was okay when they got there to Thompson. And that went back and
Oh,
forth
no,
to Long Island a
you're-
couple times. It was still kind of okay. Like, and they drove it all around. It was just had a slight miss to it on
Oh, no.
Saturday.
I'm telling you about the story between New Jersey and Thompson.
It didn't drop another valve in between. It only dropped.
Yes, it did.
Okay, fine, whatever.
It
You're wrong,
did.
but it doesn't
No,
matter.
it absolutely,
I'm
I'm
not going to let
absolutely
the
right.
truth get in the way of a good story.
No, it is true. They started it up at Bruce's house before he broke his leg. This is why the trailer was so fucked up. and they didn't know what to do. They called the engine builder, and the engine builder said, well, bring it back. Clearly I did something wrong in the head. So they just threw it in the trailer, and Amanda drove it back to Long Island without any of the tools because they're going to be back in a couple of weeks. So the RX-7 went to Long Island and stayed there. And Amanda, actually, one of Amanda's teammates, brought it to the track. In the meantime, Bruce had broken his leg. They had no tools. They had no spare parts. Nothing was in the trailer because it had been living at the engine builders instead of at Bruce's house. Then when they got it to the track, exactly what Chris said happened. It continued not to run.
It ran. It just wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
Correct.
It got worse
It got worse
and
Hmm.
worse.
and worse.
But now, before we go through that, I want to talk about the themes, how that went over, because we were keeping the theme secret last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right. It's a good theme.
All right. So the themes were, because we've been doing this for years, silver's not a theme, black is not a theme. So it was orange is not a theme, blue is not a theme, and pearlescent.
Definitely not a theme.
Pearlescent is not a
Blue
theme.
Did not participate.
They were
They-
too worried about their car not working.
They did
So,
not do
but
that.
we were very good about telling other people that their cars were just a color and not a theme. And over the weekend, it gradually picked up.
It did.
More
People
people
started
were
shouting back.
Yeah, and they would tell us pearl is not a theme. And I think they missed some of the irony there, but
Yes.
it's okay.
And
It's
some
fine.
people were offended. Shut up.
They
I got a
definitely were.
theme.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
There
yeah.
were a couple that were really actually upset.
Yeah.
And
That we were
and,
calling them
and then
out.
they tried to prove that they had a costume that was just when black is
Terrible.
not a theme.
It
black.
wasn't.
No.
yeah.
mm-mm.
Still wasn't.
Yeah. Nope.
Anyway, let's get to
Those
the
people
race.
were all proof of concept, no doubt.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
It wasn't theme heavy. Let's get right to the racing because that's when I think it gets exciting. 'Cause
Well,
test
let's
day
talk
went
about
fine.
the testing day, and then there's so the testing day went fine for everybody.
Oh, and yeah, well,
No,
talk
not at
about-
all.
Oh,
Not in any
Okay,
way, shape, or
there
form.
we go. Because Chris was saying
Right.
it got worse, and then the more important part of the testing day. But yes,
Well, so yeah, the RX-7 kept getting worse, but they thought it was going to be good enough for the race. Like they're futzing with it, but they're okay. The Mazda went out and promptly broke its exhaust, or had an exhaust leak that we found when we had it up in the air checking it, because we were checking for what was the first thing that broke? Wasn't the exhaust? Something else broke.
The fan wasn't working. We had to
That's
replace
right.
the fan.
yeah.
The fan was
Yup.
car was running really hot. It was not cooling off, and I brought it in. I was letting it idle, and I got up to like 237. Was not cooling. The fan wasn't coming on, so we pulled the fan. Jim went to a junkyard 20 minutes away, bought a fan for $40. Brought it back, put it in. Fan works.
Yep,
Amazing.
and fan is an
Um,
original part, so we
Yep,
decided.
and-
that-
yep. Thanks
it's
to
okay
Manny
for it to go
for
back.
use of his all data login, so I could confirm the wiring diagrams, which is great. So we fixed
good.
that, and then while it was running to get to test the fan, we said, "I feel like I hear an exhaust leak." So we
No,
pulled the
you said that. We were listening to the fan. We're looking for the
Yeah.
fan, and then you said that doesn't sound right. That sounds.
Yeah. So I pulled the heat shield. Sure enough, there's a crack and a hole in the exhaust. Pulled the header off. No, that's the header. It's a close coupled cat manifold. Pull that off, weld back up the crack that's in it, put it back in, and sent that Eric out for the last half hour of the day because he hadn't been in the track for a while. The car seemed fine at the end of the day. So, but we had to solve that problem. I think Cressida did what Cressida does usually at that point.
For
Mhm.
that point, yes,
Yep.
until later.
And then we had the potluck.
We had a
Chrissy?
potluck.
I forgot the potluck was Friday. Yes,
How
we
did
did
you
have to talk
forget?
about
Yeah.
potluck.
So we had potluck. It went really, really well. Thank you all for showing up. Really appreciate all of the food. We had really minimal potato salad, which was really great. We had, I don't think I had any pizza, lots of homemade sides, plenty of meat. Everybody had the meat sweats. We had lots left over, but I have to give a huge shout out to my team that were just integral to making all of it happen on time with all the help, which was Jen and Bobbin and Jeff. I think you helped a little bit.
I was cooking mostly, preparing myself.
Yeah.
So.
So everybody was there were a couple people that were very, very helpful to setting it up.
100% less flipping out this time.
100%. Yes.
Mhm.
I know I was dancing. I was actually, I told Chris, I feel like I'm there.
I think Friday is the new hotness for.
I mean, it seemed to work. There was
It's
a couple,
less stressful.
there was a couple people that complained because they said Saturdays feels like it's more like a party. or Friday. I don't know. There's people, I heard both sides and I didn't care because Saturday was going to not work for having a potluck. So, and especially since nobody thinks about the cleanup, like you get your plate of food and you walk away. There's a lot of work to be done after you've eaten.
And I feel like that's a great transition because Saturday at Thompson, with it being the middle of towards the end of the summer there, and you're not starting till noon, that's a 10-hour race day Saturday.
Yeah, that's exactly why I made it Friday.
That's why we didn't do it.
I literally made the choice and said, we are not doing it Saturday because when track ends at 6:30, then you have to go. If your car is broken, you're not coming to the potluck. And you have to find somebody that's going to make food, and that's not on your mind right now.
So yeah, and so that was I agree, that was a smart choice. So you got 10 hours of racing Saturday. Everyone starts out fairly
Jeff, did you
strong.
have something to say?
No, I'm going to save it for Saturday party.
Oh,
So
okay.
everybody starts out fairly strong. When did it start to go wrong?
For Betty, almost immediately.
Yeah, Amanda was complaining about not having power it should, and but still turning decent times and doing well. But eventually it was getting worse and worse and worse, and they brought it in and just started tinkering, and that was pretty much it for Betty. I guess we can tell the rest of the story there. They were going through all kinds of stuff, and they had a bunch of people working on it who were talented mechanics. And eventually it turns out, ultimately, they did have a broken wire on the 5-cylinder injector.
Yep.
That we figured out.
They were trying to chase the injector.
They were doing all kinds of wiring stuff. They went through 3 alternators, driving all over the world for alternators. So that was a voltage thing. They found a janky battery connection that was definitely Leote rigged, that was so hot they couldn't touch it. But
there
after solving all these problems,
theory about exciters and voltage necessary.
Yep.
A lot of theory.
And a lot of the wiring harness on the car, the Camaro wiring harness, is definitely worse for wear in a number of areas that they have found now. But ultimately, the thing that did it in after doing all this work, the exact same valve that broke before broke again in the same place.
Oh,
Valve dropped into the cylinders and rattled all around and destroyed the spark plug, destroyed the combustion chamber, destroyed all that stuff. And they just went, that's it. So there we go.
How did the like you said, oh, thank you, babe. The Chrissy did what the Chrissy does, which in addition to turning laps, being quick, not setting the track on fire, but just over a period of time wearing everyone down.
Your lead-in is entirely inappropriate in this case.
Oh, I was going to say, because what it also always does is get flagged for a fuel leak when it's always the cool shirt.
Yes.
That happened on Sunday.
But
what happened on Saturday is Tim goes out and the transmission is a box of rocks by the time he brings it back. Just like nothing.
McGee.
Terrible. Couldn't even drive himself into the garage. When they pulled the drain pan out of it, like you could hear the bits of metal falling out with the oil into the pan, like tink, tink, tink. Dave had another trans. They put it in. They got back out at like 5 o'clock.
Also, Dave's trans was in a perfectly fitting box, and it was like beautiful.
Yeah, it was already redone.
I
know, but it was like, but it fit just so nicely in the box. Like it would just, when we dragged transes out there.
That.
Yeah, I know. They look very nice.
So we should mention that what time did they break and what time did our exhaust break? Because we broke again.
A little before us.
Like 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, about half hour before we did.
Because I was in the car.
Yeah, Eric went out. He got like an hour and a half with a little tiny break in the middle. So that was great for Eric. Wonderful job with him.
Then Jeff got in.
Then Jeff went out. Jeff did the rest of Eric's fuel, and then we put more fuel in, and you kept going. And eventually, when it was time for Chrissy to go in, then Chrissy went in. You got about half an hour into your shift, and all of a sudden the car got real loud.
Yeah. Well, I could tell the story. We're going to talk about how the day went. So I was going out. I got an hour. I think I was over about an hour 15 maybe, because we were probably talking about 45, 2 hours for timing. And then you were going to get in, or then I guess Jim was going to get in. But so I was driving around and all of a sudden everything got really loud, and I was like, either it's my earbud fell out or there's something wrong with the exhaust. Unfortunately, I was only 3 corners away when it happened, so I brought it right in. I asked, I said, it's loud, I'm bringing it in. And here the exhaust exploded, cracked all the way around. Both, it came apart, not just a crack, it came apart fully. So we had to wait till it cooled down. And so the Cressida, I was out with Tim, and Tim said, I think he said it was the diff, but he said it's dead. I think he died on the track. I don't think he could bring it in. So I was still out.
He limped it into the paddock, and we had to push it into the garage. It couldn't even make it into the garage.
So yeah, so I was still out when he came in. So I like 20 minutes. I think that's probably about accurate when he came in.
That's important for the next part of the story, but I just want to thank you both for not mentioning my black flag, for blend line violation, and all that. But
and Eric got one.
Yeah,
Pass
Eric
under
had a
yellow.
Whoa.
Yep.
Eric got a black flag.
He did.
Yeah, because
The pillars that support my reality are shaking.
He was getting so racy, like out breaking people. Like he was racing, like really actually racing. Like actually everyone's best lap times at this race were within 3 seconds of each other.
They were, but that's not why he got the pass under yellow. Just saying.
He was talking to us on the radio.
No, that's not true. That's not
that.
true either. No, he was tired. He was wiped.
Yeah.
It was
so
really
that's why
hot.
it was really, really hot. But that's why.
Look forward to our penalty appearing at some point
All
in the wrap up video, because we did a Your Mama
Sorry.
battle. It was fun.
Yeah. Now, so
it was already on the Facebook, I think.
The transmission gets swapped in the Cressy. They're back out. You get the exhaust welded up in the Mazda 3. They're back out.
We had to rebuild half the manifold on this. Actually, it cracked all the way through, and that pipe was gone.
Right.
So Eric went to the parts store, got a couple bits and pieces that we could put together. It took a few tries, but we got it all welded back together.
It took a few tries.
Yeah, it took a few tries,
That's
but
because
it is
somebody's
back
bad
together.
at cutting.
One bad cut. One
One
cut
goat. Yep.
Yep, it's a straight cut. About 20-degree angle. Definitely
It's not
straight.
straight.
Did you give him?
Like
did you give him a butter
10
knife?
degree.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, he had
So
plenty
we
of things
put
to
that-
cut with.
We got that back together. The Mazda and Cressida went out right about the same time at about 5:30 with an hour left in the day. I drove the last hour of the day, had a great time. Car felt great. I didn't worry about using up the fuel, so I used all of it, and it was a good time. And Cressida did great too at the end of the day.
And we beat them. We were at like whatever 67th and 68th or whatever, wherever we
Could get
were.
one
We
more
were
on
right-
that one.
No,
we
we
just-
won.
Yep,
We said
did.
whoever beats each other, because we were so close when we both came off track. By the time we fixed our cars and got back out on track, we were trying to see who was going to win at the end of the day. And we won
Mazda
by
won
like
just
lap
a
or
little bit.
something. Yeah, by a
Yep.
lap.
All right.
Yep.
And
So because you don't start until noon on Sunday, which I think is a growing trend because Gingerman's doing the same thing. That means Saturday night is beyond Thompson's usual Caligula
No.
style
if
party.
it weren't so incredibly hot,
Exactly.
it would have been better.
What I
Because
was
everyone
gonna
was like,
say.
everyone was
I
tired
don't want to
from
party.
a long,
Nope.
hot day. Like
Yeah.
you're
But
just
no bonfire this time.
There
a
was.
bonfire.
Oh, there was a
There was.
bonfire. Yep, we took Scooty up to the bonfire with Tim sitting in the radio flyer wagon in the back.
On the
and
way
just-
up. So it's
Yep.
very hard to pull somebody on the way up with Scooty. I was the puller, and then I rode it on the way down. I shouldn't tell it to my mother. It was, and I took video while I was doing it. So anyway, that was fun. The bonfire, there was not many people there. And then of course we told people that we were, do you know who was there though? The squatting Slavs in tracksuits. They didn't have a car, but they showed up because
showed
they're
up
a
to give
hilarious
drinks.
group of people. I just think they're hilarious.
Yeah.
So
That's
great
pretty.
theme.
That is
Moscow
pretty
Mule.
friggin' cool.
Moscow.
Moscow
No,
Are they,
Mule.
are they
Ukrainian
calling them
Mule.
Moscow Mule? Yeah, I
Ukrainian
say.
Mule.
I think they changed it. I
Oh,
think they
yes.
deliberately.
They're,
Yep.
and the drinks are so good, and
Hey,
they're
I-
hilarious.
I had them pour me a Ukrainian mule, but I got up to squat myself because I said I'll squat myself. And
Yeah.
I got yelled at for not having my ankles down.
Duh.
They were like, ankles down. I was like, I don't know how to squat.
No, they tell you, but They're all very
Flat,
patient.
flat
and
foot,
very-
man. Yeah.
They're
you're
all
right.
they're hilarious. I just had to say
That's
because
awesome.
Yeah.
so they were
Um,
the people that were promoting us to go up to the bonfire. We went up there. There weren't many people. And by the time we got up there to try to drag everybody there, we were like, screw it. We're just gonna stay down there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
'cause
called.
we had the tepid tub this weekend because we didn't want it hot. So like after one night of the heater on, no, shut that off, but it never cooled off. So it was
No,
always
and
just
Chris turned it. Thankfully, you turned it off before it got too hot. But even by then, it was already too hot.
Yeah. And also we had Tim's giant flamingo. If you saw the Tim episode and the YouTube, you saw the flamingo in the lake outside his house. He brought that with us. So that was a great place to hang out too. And then at night, one guy thought it was a penguin. So then it became the flamingo or the flanguin, depending on.
Flanguin.
Yep. Yep. He wanted to sit in the penguin.
This
And we're
very
looking
truck
around.
guy said,
This
let's
huge
sit in the
flamingo.
penguin. We're like, that?
What?
The big pink thing?
Yeah.
It's a flamingo, dude.
The 8-foot tall pink flamingo. Yeah. Okay. It's a penguin.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Yes.
But it was good.
But yeah,
And then-
generally the party was a little I'm just gonna sit here and be mellow because it's hot.
Yeah.
All right. So Sunday morning, I don't know if you guys caught this. You are on the 24 Hours of Lemons YouTube, and that is our new call to action for our news and notes videos. It's all of you pushing the car because you can't even look at a race motor before noon on Sunday, lest some angry man in a golf cart come by and yell at you. So it's a nice, easy, I'm guessing good breakfast. Everyone gets up, they get
Yeah,
hydrated.
we slept
Yep.
in. Oh,
Yeah.
although-
We sat in the flamingo.
Doggo.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes, and we got up late. We had a nice breakfast, hung out. Yeah, pretty easy. We're just like, wait, we don't have more time. Oh, we've got another hour. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Totally.
We just start
relaxing.
packing though.
Yep. Racing. What Jim started, he ran full shift. He got in a too many cars and not enough space incident at one point, and there wasn't a mark on the car that we could find. Then now I have since found that it's on the right rear wheel, but there wasn't anything else.
Yeah, he
so
came
anyway,
back
he went back in.
self-reported, was not seen by the judges, so
Yep.
or not reported by the track workers, I should say.
Yeah. But he finished up his shift. Everything seemed okay. Chrissy went out. You did your whole shift, hour and 45. Then I got in and I did one lap and said,
Hold.
oh, no,
Hold.
Chrissy,
Hold.
please.
So
Yeah, talk about your shift, Chrissy.
I will talk about my shift. So it was so hot. I feel like I was trying to rehydrate all the time, but you just were just sweating constantly. I drank who knows how much Gatorade and it didn't matter. So I got out and I tried to oscillate my cool shirt for a while and it should have not run out, but it did. And so I actually ended up being pretty wiped when I got out. But halfway through my stint, I said, I called in. I said, that car's down on power. Something changed. I felt it and I couldn't so it wasn't dead, but I couldn't get good times out of it no matter how I tried. And it was only a couple seconds off, but it was one of those where you put all the gas down. And before I would like kind of power out of a corner enough. And this time I just didn't. And are we finishing?
Sorry.
Playing the outro already, Jeff?
Wow. Thank
Sorry,
you for
my phone
listening.
is
to
going
playing
crazy.
the outro?
Stop.
Thank you for listening to
Uh-huh.
Everyone Racers. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
It's like the Oscars. Apparently you've spoken too long.
I
now they-
didn't
Yes.
realize
comes out.
I'll talk faster
There
if
it
you'd
goes.
like me to.
No, it's fine.
Okay, cool. So I call in Chris and say, it's down on power. Do you want to bring it in? He says, "Meh, no, if it's undrivable, bring it in. And if not, then don't. And I said, okay. So I just kept going.
Yeah,
And then-
I think you gave us like I'm not feeling it. There's something wrong, and we couldn't tell. We're like, if it's
No,
bad, bring it in.
I told you it
And
was
you
down
were
on
like,
power. Well, I
"It's
said it
down
was
on power. I think. Like
Yeah, I
think
did.
if you would have been like, oh my gosh, it's really bad.
It's not really. It wasn't really bad. It was just
Yeah,
enough that it
yeah.
was annoying. And when you put your foot to the floor, usually you power out. And I put the foot to the floor, and I was lugging. Like I
Yeah.
needed to go. Like sometimes I was like, I need to go in a second. Like that's how
Oh.
much I was like, wow, I must have overslowed that corner like a lot. But it's something changed in my shift.
Yeah, I
So,
think
I
we
don't-
may have not misunderstood. understood, but we weren't. We had a discussion amongst ourselves, like,
Mhm.
how bad do you think it is? Well, I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
I
it's just
didn't
heat,
know.
Maybe it's just this,
Right.
you know.
Right. And I just was like, well, I'm out here. It's not like I'm not being a detriment. I'm just gonna keep driving. So I did. So but then when I got out, I was really bad. It was too hot for me. So I kind of, when I was 20 minutes out, I was like, can I get out soon? Because really again. I was like, can I get out? And so you're like, nope, 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, let's
We weren't
Because we
ready.
weren't
that.
ready. Yeah, we weren't ready.
No, but I had said I was really hot and I probably should have
You
cut
said-
it. That's really
you
what
said-
the answer is.
You said I'm a little hot.
Well, I was
If
a
you
little
said
hot.
I am so hot that I'm getting dangerous, then obviously come in.
I should have probably done that,
That's
but
the difference.
I didn't. So that's fine.
So I get in.
So
I do one lap under full course yellow and say something isn't right. It's not the engine that was bothering me. There was a rotational noise coming from the right rear. And I knew that the wheel had potentially taken a hit earlier. It wasn't changing with braking really. But it was definitely there, definitely bothering me. And so but I came out for one lap because my cool shirt wasn't working. And there's no way in hell I was going to go try to race without the cool shirt working. And we're not trying to win anything. So let's get that fixed. So we did. Just the hose wasn't in right. Go back at it again, still hear the noise, and also feel the engine. It sometimes has all the power and sometimes doesn't have all the power. But it was probably a 20% difference maybe. And the transitions between on and off throttle were a little strange. So something wasn't quite right in two different areas. It's super hot. The car's been running 225 degrees at least all weekend, if
Plus,
not
yeah.
230, because that's the fan speed on that car, and that's what it needed the fan on. And that it would maintain it. But okay, still, it's running real hot all weekend. I just said, I'm not gonna ruin anything else. Like the car's still gonna drive on the trailer and be in good shape right now, with an hour and a half left. Let's just do that. So I stopped.
Yep.
Saved the car for another day.
drove it on the trailer. Packed up
Yep.
early. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Continuing packing. Except Sunday packing sucks. Especially when it's
It sucks 'cause it's so
9,000.
yeah, it was so
degrees.
hot. You just didn't want to do anything.
Nope. Nope. And I know before Mental says it's hot. This was 90.
No, dude, this is Connecticut. Yeah, all the
You know
humidity.
the difference.
97% humidity. It was
No. I will take my 110 over that crap.
I know.
all
And that's really what the difference was the humidity. It's just that you were just walking in
Just
and out.
drenched.
It's funny because when we started saying goodbye to friends and stuff, we were giving hugs and at least Jen was like, "Oh, no hugs. I'm sweaty." And I was like, "If you are not sweating standing here, there is literally something wrong with your body because you were." I got a shower after my stint, and as soon as you step out of the actual shower, you're immediately sweating.
Yes,
That's
the shower lasted like 1
and I was
minute.
like, well, it's good that I'm like, now it's clean sweat, which is good. But that's how disgusting it was. We had cool towels, which helped. But they only helped for a little while. So,
it was bad.
yep.
Well, there's a reason I live in the desert, and that's
Yeah.
definitely one of them. No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why it was just hella hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
So-
the awards.
We said what won already, so I don't think we would need to do that again. But I want to.
I was just wondering if there was like something funny that happened at the ceremony. Okay,
I don't know.
yeah,
I
fair
through
enough.
the dong at some new kids.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
With
That
new
was
people.
totally
They weren't
worth it.
children.
They
Yeah.
laugh or were they offended?
They laughed.
Laugh.
They laughed.
Okay, fair enough.
There was definitely an uncomfortable smile and laugh that's sitting on the ground in front of them while they're getting
Yes.
their picture
And they were
taken.
they were taking pictures. Yes, that was funny. That was good.
Because everyone else that hangs out by the garage, everyone that's not new, like expects the dong to get thrown around. once in
Should
a
we?
while.
Should we
Hold-
mention?
hold real quick with the dong story.
Oh, go on.
This is funny. So hold on real quick. Judge Aaron comes over to me and says, "Can you tell me where the shame dong is?" And I was like, "It's not just the
shame
shame dong."
We
But
said
he-
no
Rolling
kink shame.
through all the list of the dongs. Well, there's the penalty
Well,
dong,
Right,
there's the hurling dong,
right.
there's
So
there's
it's all the same
shame
thing.
dong. I don't.
But but he wanted to give it to another team that was yelling at cars come by with signs that say don't speed in the pits, because that was a huge problem for us
Yeah.
or at this track. And so he wanted the kids to hold it, and he hands it to one of them, and they do the
I don't
um,
want to touch.
I don't want to touch this fingertips and face. Yes. And so finally, so after 10 seconds, they're swinging it and they're throwing it and they're
It's so much fun.
yeah. Anyway, okay. Sorry to interrupt your trip.
I love it. Starts like this, and within moments.
Oh, they're like, this is kind of dirty, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it doesn't.
It's actually
clean.
clean. It's just stained. Yep.
That's that was a well-made. That's a well-made marital aid. That one has outlasted all the other ones.
Quite.
I want to do some shout outs about the results because we already mentioned that Yuri absolutely crushed it in the Buick Opal, whatever that thing is. Alex was driving wheels off that thing and got some pretty impressive times. Also impressive, the Ombre came in like what, 13th overall?
13th with Monkey House with 13th.
With its new
third and B?
owners.
Yep.
Yeah,
With
third and B.
Jeremy and Jonah and Nick and those guys. 13th.
And Tim drove that as well.
And Tim, yep.
Yeah.
Everyone that sells the Ombre, and then it goes off and keeps running forever. And it's like, why do we sell that?
Yeah. And they really like it. They had a couple fixes on it, but they had a good time with it, and they seemed to
and
be
it
dialing
definitely
in.
came back with a way dented bumper. Did anybody see that? The rear
Front or rear?
bumper got
rear?
like you know how it like curves in on the body. It's an S10 bumper, so it kind of like it was like straight out.
Oh
So
no!
clearly
It hooked somebody.
Something hooked the bumper and just pulled it out. It was really amusing.
So if you're asking us all the time, what's a good car to start off in Lemons? An S10.
S10, without a doubt.
Because you can upgrade it. Yes, well,
sure.
It's good. Parts are plentiful. It's easy on consumables, and then it provides you an opportunity to upgrade it and learn as you go.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you count your shims and put them in the right. The other car that we should probably talk about is the Fishers.
Yeah.
Garage Heroes Honda.
It had some issues.
It had some issues,
including a lot of blow by on Saturday at the end of the day.
Like engine full of blow by kind of blow by.
It had a lovely vinaigrette in the catch can. Like really.
And we dared
put in a
people,
glass jar, it separated. It was lovely.
Yeah, people dared Alex to drink it.
I did see that was a game on the Garage Heroes and Facebook. They called it the new paddock game, blow by or vinaigrette, and someone was holding a clear jar and deciding whether or not.
That's how bad it was. Yes. So lastly, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jeff. Shout out to our friends Tesla. Is that how you say that?
Brand new kids in a Mazda 3. They barely got their car to pass text by Saturday morning. They were still welding the cage up on Friday. The cage looks nice though. Actually, the guy did a nice job. They go out. They're getting ready to go out on Saturday, and clutch doesn't work. It's like to the end of the day Saturday when they were finally ready. Clutch doesn't work. I check with I go look at. Yep. I mean they put it in gear, let the foot out. Car doesn't even stall, like nothing. So they were like, well,
never happened to us.
No, ours at least stalled still.
At Thompson.
Thompson last year.
Like I'm watching the actuation, like it's definitely the clutch. So they're like, well, we don't really know how to work on cars at all. I'm saying, all right, well, it's 7 o'clock.
Well,
and we have to start till noon tomorrow. So
while you were in the car closing, they came over to me and were like, it's the clutch. How bad is it? And I was like, hey, Chris, because I literally can't remember the time when we did the clutch on our car because it was so long ago. And we did the trans swap at the same time. So like we never just dropped it to a clutch.
We've done a different trans swap and clutch since. So.
Right. So I was like, how bad is it? And you're like, oh, it's not that bad. And so I said, get somebody to go get it. Cause we've now back to what you were saying, we've got time. So let's, get it done. And they're like, we have nobody who's a wrench. We really don't actually know how to do anything on this car.
So they got in a garage space that had been vacated and started working and getting bits and pieces of help here and there from a variety of people and
YouTube.
Yeah. And eventually did get it all back together, but something wasn't quite right. Like they were about to go out and get the checker last couple laps. So they got it together and something wasn't quite right. So they it would work when the battery was not in place, but not when it was, one of those kind of things. So they they called it, but they had a wrenching victory for themselves, and they did a clutch, and those guys had no idea how to even like change oil before this. So good for them. We gave them some parts
the
that they
guidance.
needed.
We did a lot of
Yep.
rah. They were right next to
Garage Heroes.
Garage Heroes and the truck. So they were right around people that we know. They were really, really nice people. And yeah,
Great
it was really-
attitudes.
yes, absolutely. We kept saying you can do it, and we lend them parts. Did you say that? I'm sorry, I was
Yeah.
looking at something else. Yeah, so we were and then we've been back and forth with them since. So it's great.
That's awesome. That is just,
Yep.
and imagine, I hate to get all teachery on this, but imagine like the confidence that gives them, they're at work and someone gives them, I don't have no idea how to do this task. And they're like, wait, didn't I replace a clutch in a race car overnight?
I gotta be able to find it on YouTube. Let's do
Except
it.
these people were like mega smart. Like the one guy was a PhD and taught at like Yale, I think, and was going from New Haven to Southern. He lived actually near your old house, Jeff. Southern or Northern Jersey. And he was like, oh, I have to go to New Haven every so like wicked smart people. So
Wicked smart.
not to say that
wicked.
not that everybody isn't, but I just happened to be talking when Chris was talking to the team. I was talking to a gentleman on the team. So very smart people, but they learned and it was good.
That's awesome. So
Let me do one more, and then let's because we said what the Eagans did. We said how the Garage Heroes did. How did the Tom Lamino do?
It broke.
Oh yeah, broke. That's it. That's it.
It was the belt, and then what? Then something after
I
that.
don't know.
After-
It's
then the
always-
belt. Then it was the belt again, and it's a weird
Oh.
belt because of something.
Tom always has like the part is hard to get, and I can't find it because I get it from some guy.
Oh,
And
and they
then
had
he
to go
goes-
back to.
and he goes on our Slack and he's like, oh no, I got this really cool high performance part that I had to order from Germany. We're like, Tom, it's gonna break. You're
Yeah,
not gonna have that at the racetrack. No, this
No,
time.
no, it's great. It'll
this
be great. They
time-
always told me this time.
and
Yeah,
they had to go
he-
back to Jonah's house for something, which isn't close.
That's New
so-
Hampshire.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
When Jonah brings his car, it runs all weekend, and they're the same car.
No,
Right?
no. Jonah's got like this. Theirs is a 5-cylinder reality swap, and it broke.
So
at
is
New
Tom's.
Hampshire.
So is
It-
Tom's
okay,
now.
but it broke at New Hampshire.
It
and-
did break once. Yeah.
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 I
Oh,
mean, neither of that means Volkswagen. Do not buy a Volkswagen as
Don't buy
your
a
first
Volkswagen.
race car. That's really what it comes down to. Although
I
somebody on
think Jeff-
Facebook said
Jeff
that.
did say to him at one point, Tom, I'm not sure the Fox was all of the problem.
And he walked away, and he's just like, "Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Fair.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
pretty
Yeah,
much.
All right, so the ride home. How'd the caddy do on the way home? Because now you're exhausted. Those air conditioned seats must have been chef's kiss.
It was phenomenal.
I mean, it
Put
was
an audiobook on.
phenomenal.
Just
It was
drive.
terrible. We got home at midnight, and I
Yeah,
got
but
out to
for
work
that
at-
drive, it was
Sure.
great. We
I
were
was up at-
comfortable. It was quiet. It was calm. It was cool. Decent
Yeah.
mileage.
I think we got out of Thompson earlier than we have in the past. So that's
did.
good news. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
we were
All right.
home at midnight. That's not too
So
bad.
talk to me about your brother, Jeff, because
Well,
he has
I-
some sort of conversation with some local law enforcement personnel.
Well, state police, sure, New Jersey State Police. So, I
Known for their easygoing nature.
yeah,
Well, that's all
at
cops.
a
isn't it?
cab to start, to fund the police, all that things. So anyway, so here's what I got. Here's what I got.
Did you
So
not
we
just
pull
read the
into the-
statistics on stolen cars? That's a
No, I don't
terrible
care.
idea.
Have my car. Listen. So here's
They
what
don't
happens.
catch. They don't find them. So what's the
Exactly.
point?
They're not helpful with that. So we pull into we need fuel. Thank God somebody put fuel in because we ran the AC like constantly to the point where we froze up the AC
Didn't
on
work
Saturday
anymore.
night.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were worried about getting, how many times we'd have to stop for gas. And we pretty much made it to the New Jersey Turnpike. Was it New Jersey? Yeah, New Jersey Turnpike. And it was a little further north in New Jersey than we usually stop. So we pull in and it's like trucks and buses this way and cars that way. So we go to the trucks and buses and we park it there and we pee and we get our snacks. I get a Starbucks and we're driving to the fuel pumps and we get to, and it's like, there's like curb wall between where the trucks and buses go and the gas pumps. Your options in the truck and bus size are diesel or DEF. You have no gas
Oh,
on that side, and you can't get to the other side. Like usually there's like a little hole in the curbs and you can go through it. So I'm like, dude, right there, just go through right there. And he's like, well, I can't go there. It says do not enter. I said, well, your choice is do not enter or one way.
Oh no.
So he's like, well, I already missed the do not enter. So it's like 10, 15 feet of one way. I could see straight through it. It's just where there's like 10 parking spots. I'll just go there and then be able to turn in the regular thing. So I was like, okay, wait, don't go. Statey, man, state police officer. So the state police officer pulls up to the stop sign that we're about to go through the other direction. And we just kind of sit there like,
oh,
you go. You go. Go
No,
ahead.
no.
You go. We're
In
trying
an
to do something
RV.
illegal
in an
here.
RV, right?
An
You're
RV.
blocking-
It's not like you're in a Miata. You're in an RV.
So the cop goes to the stop sign, and we're just sitting there like we're not going anywhere. We're just sitting here, and then he like enters where all the trucks are like sleeping, and I'm like, do it, punch it, let's go. So we go through the like 30 feet of one way, and we get to where we are.
no.
And as we get there, we get to the same like do not enter sign because we didn't realize it was the same place. And as we do that, the cop pulls up next to us with his lights on and goes, what the hell are you doing?
No, he did. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare get a Southern accent. Don't you friggin' dare.
They all have Southern accents. at that
No,
point.
they do not in New Jersey.
No, he said, what's up? I don't know. Is that Jersey? I don't know. Anyway, so we said, yeah, we need fuel. We need gas. And
What you's doing here is driving the wrong ways.
it was South Jersey.
That's
So it was
terrible
like that.
too.
Yeah, he said, what you doing? And we said, like, we're trying to get fuel. And he goes, yeah, they didn't mark that very well, did they? And we were like,
No.
is he on our side or not? Can't tell. Keep playing it. So we were like, yeah, we were really confused and we don't know what to do now, sir. Thank you for helping us. And he says, next time you got to go the wrong way, do it with care. So of course, okay, like be more careful next time you're breaking the law.
Multiple times.
So then my
Oh, that's-
brother's like, so what do I do now? And he's like, go through the do not enter. There's the fuel. Go.
Oh,
So that's what
good.
we
So
did. Yeah.
he condoned it.
Yes.
Okay.
He didn't. He was. I would say on like a 1 to 10 scale of mad, he was on a 3.
Annoyed.
He's like, these
Yeah.
jabronis. Get
Exactly.
out
Yeah,
of
there it is.
What the
There's
hell?
a Jersey phrase.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
jabronis
Listen,
over here.
Then nut jobs. The
All
hell.
right. So
yeah, that was it. It wasn't that bad.
We're
No,
we're,
that's good.
we're running a little longer than I want to, but this is the key point. Is coming from my background, everything is all about the debrief. What lessons did we learn to apply for the next one? And I didn't type this up, which, by the way, this is the awesome thing about taking a month off is all of a sudden the show notes are being done like on Mondays. So, Chris, I want to save you for the last because you're the guy. But Jeff, not really bringing a car. What would you fix for the next one?
Well, I would like to bring a car and get mine done, but that's pretty
That's a-
tough.
that's a-
That's
that's a-
funny.
It's
Fine
a
goal.
rock solid plan.
Let's-
It's
let's
a
go.
He's a funny
It's a
guy.
good goal. It's a good
yeah.
goal.
No, when it's hotter than halfway up a snake's ass in a wagon, right? You really need to take care of yourself and hydrate. And I think I hydrated fine, but man, it's still, you just got to really be careful because it will knock you out.
All
That
right.
kind of heat.
Chrissy, you had to learn to pack a new vehicle.
Sure. Yes. I was like,
Um,
yeah, what?
Did you now driving the car that was down on power? Did you find your inner Ross Bentley and start working on being smoother, or especially
No.
especially battling dehydration?
It's hot. and
We're not
no,
trying to win anything. So.
no, not even a little bit. I needed to pack more shirts, is what it come down to. Because it's just really hot, and every time you take clothes off, you don't really want to put old clothes on. So I feel like I needed some more bikinis or something because it was just hot. No, I had a great time on Saturday. The car was running well. Happy, really excited, and happy that all of us were running really close times, which is awesome. And Chris included. We were close to Chris, which was exciting. So it was what
I was waiting for you to finish.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it was nice to see that we were all on. It's that track, the car on that track, but it's really that track. We all just kind of turn on and get really excited. Eric included. He was happy and was doing well, and he was having a good time. So yeah, I think I thought it was good. What do we do
I
next?
thought of something I learned.
Please.
Tim Burr, really cool
Is-
cat.
Is amazeballs.
He's a dude, man. In the don't be a douche, be a dude category, he's 100% dude.
Oh yeah.
He
If you ever
amazing.
want to feel bad about yourself
And
and enjoy it, go to his house and see the work that he's done on his house. He is just a phenomenal human being. His dog is even cooler than everybody else's dog.
Oh,
Uh,
I was
Neil
going to say
Losi, too.
everybody else. How about that?
Yeah,
His
Neil
dog is
Losi.
cool.
Neil Losi. I love that Neil Losi is getting out of California this year. It's been awesome.
I've hung with Neil Losi a little bit in Jersey, but I've never hung with him at all. So it was cool.
All right. Okay,
Chris doesn't get to go.
Chris.
I think I learned that I actually need to break down and get a tune for the Mazda so that I can have the ECU turn the fan on at a lower temperature.
I think
I
that's
was
a
just
fine
leaving
idea.
it. I was leaving it as stock as possible, thinking that's usually the best, most reliable thing to do.
Well,
But
and
this
especially
is
when
an
you're
area where we
developing
are
it.
out of
Yes.
Yeah, this is an area where we are out of design parameters now. I think and we know we need the fan to come on to keep its temperature right, and it does, and it will maintain and regulate in terrible conditions, but it needs to come on 30 degrees sooner.
It was disconcerting when we just sat and looked at the gauge, and the gauge only has this much area, very little area
Sweep,
between
yeah.
the 225 and 250, and that's bad range. Like we shouldn't be getting there, but we were like, well, if your angle of your head is looking this way, then it's a little high. Well, it's a little higher, so you shouldn't have to play that game.
The stock temperature gauge never budged. So that made me think, all right, we are still in design parameters, but
theory.
but running that long for that hard, I don't want to be at that edge. I need to back it off.
And,
And
and
it's
I'm
all
going to give
modules
you
and
the
variable speeds and-
the inevitable listener feedback question. Knowing your design philosophy of always automate as much as you can, why not just hardwire it?
because there's a lot of times we don't want it on, and I don't trust anyone else to turn it on the right way.
I agree.
So a Bluetooth switch, and you can just do it with your phone.
Maybe.
And then
That's
Chris,
gonna fail.
Chris controls the fan.
No,
That's
just
gonna
have it turned
fail.
on. I mean, it is 200 or 300 cc's larger than before with the same size cooling capacity, isn't it?
No, I put a Speed 3 aluminum aftermarket radiator in it and
Okay.
took the AC out and stuff like that to get more air through it.
Yeah.
I could probably duct it a little bit better, but I don't have to worry about that until Jersey next year, frankly. So
Yeah.
with
Winter
New Hampshire, it'll be
project.
fine. Right, New Hampshire will be fine.
Like we don't
but
have
I
enough
think
winter. projects.
Realistically, it would kind of be nice to do a tune anyway, because it would pick up some power without doing anything else. And but putting
I
the
would like a
fan
little
speed
more power than
lower-
we had on Sunday, please.
Yeah,
and
well,
thank
I'm
you.
working on that. Thank you.
No, thanks.
Yeah, I have it apart at the moment to fix that part.
So it was a fun weekend. Still recovering. I think
We
that's the
laughed a
answer.
lot. It was a weekend. We weren't so good at the racing part this weekend, but we were really good at having fun with your friends this weekend.
So much.
Yeah.
It was
so
one
much
of those.
time. So much time in the tepid tub and the flamingo.
So much time in the tepid tub.
All right.
Penguin.
Thank you.
All right. Once more around the horn before we move into our next segment.
It's all good for me.
Me too.
All right.
I love
so,
Thompson.
So despite the mechanical challenges, we're going to call this one a success.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Well done.
Everything
team.
drove back on the no, Betty didn't drive back in the trailer, but things went home fairly close to the way they arrived. I mean, there's only one valve, just one valve.
Just
Just
one
one
valve. All right. I'm unsure of who typed this. I am willing to take it, but we'll
I typed
talk
it in
about-
Chris's.
There we go.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
All right. So, folks, it's been a while since we've had this done properly, but now it's
Oh.
just
Just
the
the
tape.
This is too much because I'm not sure this is well thought through. I mean, it's not like we haven't talked about it before. I was just going to suggest we talk about the heat and all the things you should and should not be doing when you are, especially when you're racing, but also considering how much the heat can really mess with you. Any initial thoughts?
Yeah. Wear a cool shirt, people.
Oh yeah.
I've talked to a couple people who didn't have one, and after they got out of the car, they were obviously not well, like seriously unwell, like mentally, physically, you name it. And also talked to a couple people who use a cool shirt for the first time and said, where has this been all my life?
Which was exactly the same reaction we had when we started with those homemade cool shirts, and then we all said the heck with it. We all bought the brand name ones, and then we started turning down opportunities to drive cars because they didn't have cool shirts. And we're like, no, I'm not doing that.
And we've refined the process since then as well with the changing of the coolers. I think that was huge. So we've done a good job with refining the process.
We've turned on a bunch of people to that. I showed a bunch of people.
It works so well.
The paddock cool shirt has proliferated around the paddock.
Oh my gosh.
Egan's air conditioner in a cooler.
I told him to sell it.
Just sell it. So wonderful. We all would just go over there and plug in for a while before and after the car. And it was amazing.
Tell quickly what it is.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah. He took a home window unit, small window unit, and took it apart, put the condensing part in the water of the cooler. And the outside parts, the compressor and stuff still does this thing. So it just pumps all the cold into the cold water. It gets it to like 38 degrees. And he's
recycles.
He's got pumps and hoses that 4 sets of long hoses that come out there so he can wear it while he walks around the garage, right?
Literally, you can do work while you're plugged in.
It's amazing.
4 sets, 3 or 4 sets.
It's
kind of look like Vecna's tendrils in the upside down.
Yeah. It was a really cool party hanging out over in the
It was, but it was necessary when I got out of the car and was dying. It was worth it.
So especially in parts of the country where you folks have weather, you have spring and fall and all that kind of stuff, your body tends to not acclimate as much as where I live out here and get thin blood. And the phrase I want you to understand that Chrissy's talking about and that Chris was talking about is insidious. You do not realize how diminished your mental state is when you are overheated and dehydrated.
Agreed.
Especially when you're on track, you're running on adrenaline.
Agreed.
Once that adrenaline stops, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quick whipped up the signs of heat exhaustion. So look for water depletion, which is thirst, weakness,
which
headache.
you won't notice in a race car.
That's what I'm saying, because you're always thirsty and you always feel kind of weak, and headache.
Yeah.
If you got that headache and you're feeling listless, you're a heat exhausted person. Salt depletion signs include nausea, vomiting, muscle cramps, and dizziness. I had muscle cramps. I had some headaches. I don't know if I had any dizziness or nausea or vomiting, but I think I was on the scale for both. And I was hydrating a lot. I know the little pea color thing, you know what I mean? Like just got out of summer camp where you had to check that, and
also
never had.
Half the problem is you had to pee in the first place. So that was the other problem, was that you're not drinking enough. You didn't.
So stay cool, folks.
Yep. And this goes for real life too. I mean, don't wear a cool shirt in real life, but
Well,
I mean,
you did. You wore a cool shirt when you were driving the car to the track.
But that was in the race cars. I needed it on Monday when I was unloading the car, and it was still 97 degrees outside. So there was that.
Without a doubt.
Yep.
Monday, I was like, I want to unpack. I'm tired.
Yep. Chris is like, don't mow the lawn. And I'm like, I'm already wet. Might as well do it. Let's get it over.
I had to like clean the pool. I came home to a green pool. It was terrible.
All right. Kick this pig, Jeff.
All right. So we've all heard the music. Do we have any idea what we're doing next week?
No.
No. Okay. Thanks for downloading us. We guarantee we'll have a fantastic show next week. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Everyone Racers. We'll hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even if you've never changed a clutch in your Mazda 3. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. I gave out a bunch of business cards, so if you're a new subscriber, go ahead and write into us. You can hit us up on the Facebook page or drop us an email at everyone.racers@gmail.com, or you could if you're watching on YouTube, hit us down there in the doodly doo. Like I said, gave out a lot of business cards.
We're also on Rumble. That's where you can find full episodes of our show now. immediately,
what that is.
starting tomorrow.
I don't know what that is.
Rumble.com.
Okay,
Links
there you
in
go.
the notes.
You can still text us at 484-243-0455. Send pictures of your junk to mental. We are obviously on Instagram and Twitter at everyone.racers and YouTube and Facebook at everyone racers and Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up, unless there is no shiny side, and then just keep those wheels down.
Rusty parts are hard.
You know it's not hard? Clicking that like and subscribe button.